مصطفى مرحبا بك راك في ستيج نورمالمون يس يور لايف مصطفى صافا كلشي مزيان
اهلا.
كتسمعني
الحمد
مصطفى
لله. تنسمعك، انت تسمعني؟
تري بيان الحمد لله بارفي
الحمد
شكرا
لله.
بزاف غنخليك تبارطاجي ليكرون ديالك و ميرسي بوكو مصطفى
ما عنديش ان بيتش داك، غادي
صافي
غنتكلم لاني
سا
وجدت
مارش
واحد لو دوكيومون ان شاء الله غادي نتبعو.
سي
غتكون
بيان
الا ما مانيش خاطئ غتكون لا كونفيرونس اون انجلي.
كيما بغيتي as you want as you prefer
يمكن قبل ما نبدا before we start maybe we can have, I don't know how many people are attending, but I would love to have a quick poll, like just a quick question to know about the audience, just so I can better address the topic. So I guess it's a community of mostly developers. So I'm wondering first if you can just add a +1 in the chat. How many are developers attending here? And probably also how many have side hustles or side projects. They can also put like founders +1, so I can know at least what are the profiles that we are having here. It's really important because this topic of pitch and preach is the pillar of any business, any startup. If you don't, especially when you are coming from a technical and a dev background, um, there are many pitfalls that you can fall into, and they will make your life really hard if you don't overcome them. So you always have to keep this pitch and preach topic with you and try to get back to it and kind of compare yourself where you are at. So let me start. So pitch and preach. So I said there are two pillars of any business, and really think it like a plane. So a plane to take off needs two wings all the time. So if you don't have them, if they are not balanced, you will just fail taking off. And this is really important. I don't know how many developers we have because didn't see anyone putting any comment, but it's okay. If you are a developer and if you are coming from a technical background, you are going to fail at the very beginning, understanding the fact that you need to pitch and to preach around you. You will mostly get stuck in your technical project or in your technical skills or in your technical explanations. So basically, the aim when you create your product, remember that, and I think anyone knows that, it's not really to create and to release a good product in terms of technical skills. It's to sell it and to make money out of it. So this is where the pitch comes. So you need to pitch your product in order to sell it to someone. Without a pitch, without a proper pitch, you won't be able to find customer and to let them know what you are solving. And by doing that, you can't also create a good product or a good company being alone. So you have to surround yourself with good people. And this is where the preach comes. So basically, you pitch on one side to sell your product, and you preach on the other side to sell your vision and attract talent to get with you into that project and to help you make it happen. If you do have questions, what I propose, you can put them in the chat because it's really important at the end of it. I will try to do like 15 to 20 minutes or a bit more or less, and then you can put your questions. You can put them on the way, and I will try to answer them either at the end or to orient my pitch as well. So you pitch to sell and you preach to attract people. But in both cases, in a way, you are selling something. One is you sell your product, and the other way, you sell your vision. And it's very, very important at early stage. Even though you are going to continue to work with this pitch and preach at a later stage, it's really important to masterize that at early stage. because this is the most critical moment in your project. Uh, and you go from at the very beginning from an inner or a small circle where you are going to do that. Maybe you pitch to friends, to first customers, to beta users, and then later on, when your project evolves, you can probably get to preach and to pitch to investors, partners. So at some point, this whole pillars are going to, in a way, to get to evolve, and you have also to adapt that to your audience. So basically, you don't pitch the same way to a customer. You don't pitch the same way to a partner. It's always the same and the common ground, let's say, but you will have a variance of each, because each one you will have to, for each one you will have to address them with different language, different, let's say, I don't know how to say that in English, but like we say in French, a jargon or a specific, some specific codes and terms. For example, for investor, you don't pitch them the same way as customers. Customers, they are interested in your product, in the way you are solving their problem. Investors, they are interested not really in the way you solve the problem, but mostly how you are unique, how you are going to make money, what is your business model. So basically, you always have these core values about your project, and then around that you build some variant and adaptations, so you can address the right target with the right words. Of course, as it was mentioned as well in the previous talk, iteration is really important. So when you have this storytelling, it's not going to be kind of frozen in time. You will have always to iterate, and you will get used and good at it over time. So basically, to be honest, when you start to pitch your project at the very beginning, the first few weeks, first few months is not going to be really great, because you will have to fine tune it, to iterate, to get feedback. And also, one thing that is really important, and one pitfall that many developers fail into, is to be too technical. And this is really hard to get over it, because you know the complexity of your product. You have worked many hours, many weeks, many months that you have invested in it, and you are having hard time just simplifying it, and you want to be too technical, and this is really an issue. You have to get rid of the technical part. It doesn't really matter at all. The only thing that matters here is the value that you are bringing, the value that you are bringing to your customer. What problem are you solving? And the value that you are bringing to any human being you want to surround yourself with. So basically, when you pitch, what is the value that I'm bringing to my customer? When you preach, what is this vision, this value that I'm giving to any human being around me that will make him eager to join the project? So you always have to think about that. So let's break down a bit those two topics, pitching and preaching. So what is pitching? Pitching is the act of presenting your business idea, product or service to a potential customer, partner, or investor. So of course, there are good and bad ways to pitch. And a good pitch is a pitch that is really clear and summarized and very kind of um, comprehensive, compiled, but also really small to sell. Maybe you can really have and train yourself to have a one-line pitch, like a one-liner that can define your project. I really encourage you as well to, I was reading it and continuously going back to it. There is a book named Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I can probably put it later in the chat. I really encourage you to read this book. Why? Because this book will explain you why some products, even though they are good, they fail. And why sometimes some products that you can see that they are not that great, but they do great because of the storytelling. And it will teach you about the pitching, that our brain as human beings, they try to avoid to burn too much calories, to understand a message. So you have to work on your pitch to make it as simple as possible and as understandable as possible with the lowest calorie possible, that your brain can use to understand it. And most of the time, you have to state it as like, in this book, they take an example about basic human needs. Like, for example, when you are hungry, you need food. So it's a problem solution. And he said, if you are not able to resume your product exactly in this manner, like problem solution in a one liner, you are in a way having an issue. You should really break it down. And that goes also with simplifying your message. I know, for example, and this is also happening. I know that because I was as well, and I'm still a developer. I'm coming from a technical background, and I had this issue. Since my product was doing many things, I was having hard time just to reduce it to one thing. But the customer, they don't need to know exactly what is it all doing. The only thing is, what is it, the main thing, the main problem that you are solving. And then later on, they will find out about all the things that you can also do. But the thing is, you don't want to lose them in the complexity of your pitch. So basically, try to do a one-liner. So one line, I do that, I do that. For example, the most well-known pitch with Steve Jobs about, when he released the first time, I think it's the iPod, where you could upload music and listen. It just said it's 1,000 new musics in your pocket. So he reduced it completely to that. So you know that you have 1,000 musics in your pocket. This was the pitch for the iPod. And it's a one-liner, and it makes you understand without the complexity of telling you, okay, it's MP3 format, you put it in the USB, you can do that. Nobody cares about that. They just care to know that what they can do, what you are solving, and what is the value that you are bringing. So you have to simplify the message, and you have to hide the complexity. Although you are frustrated, you will get used to it, and you will see the impact that it does, and the customer that it brings. So basically, what your pitch should contain or cover, as I was saying, problem statement, solution, and unique selling proposition. This is the basic. Why the unique selling proposition? Because, or the value that you are bringing. I know that for fact, and this is really a crucial part, some developers, they just develop a good product, but it looks like someone else's product. So it doesn't have a lot of value. So you don't have a unique way to solve an issue. It could be a good product, but it's not good enough compared to what exists already to attract new customers. So basically, the unique selling proposition or the unique value proposition is what makes you different from others. Why I should buy your product and not someone else's product. And this is, you have really to work on it because it's the crucial part of your pitch. Why you have to come. And normally, it's really related, you will see it, to what we call the product market fit. And this is also the crucial part for every startup to find this product market fit. You have to solve a problem in a unique way that nobody does already or has done it already. So it takes sometimes years to find it, this product market fit, sometimes months, it depends. But exactly. Uh, but I will talk about that later, about the MVP and how you attach things and emotional attachment. So basically, the product market fit is really important because this is what will make you live or die, basically. If you don't reach it, you are doomed. You will die sooner or later, whatever you do. So basically, you really have to think about, I found an issue, I found a problem, a customer problem. Now, how I solve it in a unique way. And this is what I will put in my pitch. Some other things like some variant like business model, traction, team, depends on with whom you talk or with whom you speak. If you speak with investors, They are interested in the solution and the problem, the solution that you have, but they are also interested in the traction that you are having. How many customers? Uh, what is the market size? What is the cost of acquisition? uh, what is the team that you are having for the time to address this issue. So basically, you will have to have a set of pitch that you get used to, and you'll have to use each one of them depending on the target you have or what you are aiming to do. If you have a partner, if you have an investor, if you have a customer. So another point that is really important: who to pitch in priority. So first, the potential customers. This is the first priority. Second, I would say the potential customers, and third, the potential customers. What does it mean? It means that at an early stage, don't bother pitching anyone except prospects and customers. Don't get trapped into pitching in startup competition. I know what I'm doing is not really, it's kind of harsh, but don't bother and waste your time pitching in in a startup competition or in a networking event. Also, although it's interesting because you can at some point gather some feedback and practice your pitch. The, the main problem in startup competitions or in all these network events, it's the the target. You are not targeting the right person, and the feedback that you are going to get is the wrong feedback because you don't care about a jury or some people that are going to tell you that you have the great idea, a good idea. Because basically, if you are not getting paid, if no one writes a check to get your product, it's just useless. You can pitch, you can get whatever applause you want, but it's not going to pay the bills. So basically, especially at an early stage, you need to validate your idea. Is my product good enough, or do I have to put it, to trash it and to do something else or to pivot? And this you can only know by getting feedback from your customers. So basically, you pitch, you pitch, you pitch, you pitch, you get feedback, and if they pay, they validate. This is the only way to validate your idea, to get a subscription. If you don't get any subscription, and between parentheses, I advise, but this is only my opinion, not to have, when you are early stage, not to have any free trial, because free trial is kind of a bias in the search of product market fit. Always at the very beginning, make people paying, except if you have beta users. But as long as you are done with beta users, you ask people to pay, because if they pay, it means that the problem that you are solving is important enough, and the solution that you are bringing is good enough to pay for it. If you don't, you're just wasting time, basically. So always pitch customers, customers, customers. And when you think that you are kind of starting to get there, then you can continue, go and pitch maybe investors if you need money, partners if you need some partnerships, and start to sell your product in a different manner. Of course, a pitch, as I was saying, needs to be improved. Like a hunter, always sharp your knife. It takes months and to train a good pitch. And don't put aside your ego. Get some feedback also from other entrepreneurs that are used to it, that can help you um, sharpen it, make it good, and make it better. So this is for the pitch. For the preach, which is also really important, no one can create impact or make a good project alone. This is for fact. Okay, especially nowadays, projects are really complex. You need developers, you need marketing, you need sales. Sometimes you need investor, you need finance, and financial people with financial background. So you need to surround yourself with these people. You need to find them. And a good entrepreneur is not always someone that does things. He has to be hands-on, especially at the very beginning of a startup. But the main skill of a good entrepreneur is to be like an orchestrator. He has this ability to find good people and to surround himself with great people and great talents, and then to give them like a context or a space where they can be good at what they are good at, like use their skill to their and to the fullest, so this is what is supposed to be. uh, so to do that, you have to sell your vision, you have to sell the dream, okay, you have to pitch in another way, so you don't pitch your product, but you pitch your vision. And I like to have this like example of movements, political movements, or even religions. When you think about that, no religion or no political movement was made impact without having followers. So basically, you always have a leader that bring the message, bring the idea, and then he convinced a small group of people around him. And those people, they carry and they amplify the message. And really in the startup, it's really the same in the company at the early stage. The people that you are going to gather at the very beginning are going to be the best asset that you will have, because they will be so convinced, and sometimes even more convinced than you can be yourself, and they will bring that idea to others. They will also attract others. So really don't underestimate this. And I know for a fact also that when you are a developer, it's a hard skill to get, because mostly you are there, you develop, you are with your machine, you don't want to talk too much about it, you are afraid of having your ID stalled or some whatever. You are afraid of also of sharing, because surrounding yourself with people means also sharing, sometimes even equity, money, whatever. But think about something: 100% of zero is still zero, okay? But 30 or 40% or even 20% of a big number is really could be also a big number. So think about that. And I know it's hard, but you will all at some point reach a level of like a ceiling, a ceiling, yes, like a ceiling, and you can't pass it without having someone around you that can help you break it. Um, so also an important point, and for fact, the investors know that most of them, they don't look when you pitch to investor or you preach to investor, they don't really look at your project or your product. They mostly look at the team. They are, because you can always change your product quite easily, but you can't easily change the team. So a team is the most important part of your startup. And keep in mind also that on average, a startup has to pivot 2 to 3 times to find the product market fit. So be almost sure, 90%, that the product that you are building now is not going to be your final product. And it doesn't really matter, in fact. But the core team that you are building now is probably going to be the core team that you will have 5 to maybe 10 years from now. So keep in mind that the team is more important than the project itself. So what are the skills you need to work and to attract people? So mostly it's first active listening and empathy. So active listening, why? Because you have to be able to listen to people and understand what they need, what they are looking for. If you rush into scanning your vision, you don't know what is that sensible fiber. Yeah, the team is more important. That you need really to address the people with their language, with what they are expecting, and hit that sensible part of them. And keep in mind something: preaching is not lying. You are not going to lie or to sell a wrong vision or a wrong thing. This is really important because it's all about confidence. If you lie to people, and we have seen that in some places, you know what we say: you can lie one time to 1,000 people, to 1,000 people, but you can't lie 1,000 times to 1,000 people. Like, I mean, at some point you will just get stuck in your life. So really try to be authentic, and try really to respect your work. When you give someone a word, you are willing to share, you do whatever needs to be done to keep them around you safe and confident. So you have to have active listening, empathy, and also being able to masterize the storytelling. But this is something that you can work on. You can get helped uh, in a way, or follow some trainings. This is something that you can improve over time. Uh, so, and don't forget something, creating a great project or a great company mostly relies on solving human issues rather than software. A software, everybody knows, you find a bug, you just fix it, you add an extra line of code or two, and this is done. But when it comes to human, it's more tricky. The human relationships needs really to have some emotional awareness that you have to develop to maintain this core team with you. And that's it. I think I'm done. I don't know if you have any question or anything that you want to address during this call.
Yes, Mustafa, I think we have some questions in the chat. I would just like to pin them. So the first question from Sufyan. So he's asking about some advices or recommendations, especially when you know all the details, the technical details of the product. It's sometimes hard to simplify and pitch it to get the unique selling point.
I know. And to be honest, to tell you a small, a quick anecdote that I had when I really started think about something. Honest, it's just my experience, but I like to share it because I was really like a geeky guy who was all in the technical part. And when I came, the first time I came to a workshop about fundraising and how to sell your product, um, I asked a really dumb question, like a too technical question. And one guy came and told me, guy, you are probably not a salesperson. I said, no. He said, I knew it from the way you ask your question. And I realized at that time that I was too technical, and I was in a way thinking that selling a product is all about the explaining how advanced technology you are using, and how
Mhm.
you are solving in the technical with the problem. But the people, they don't understand that this technical part is really um, kind of contained in the circle of developers. Most of people, they don't understand our language if when you start to speak about technical things. And
Exactly.
really, customers, they don't really care at all about how you solve it. They just want to know that you are solving it in the best way possible. This is it. And you learn over time, to be honest. It's hard to change the way you think. So the only thing is, by pitching customers, you will understand that you are getting it wrong. And you will be forced at some point by this pressure of selling your product to change and to understand what is going on. And this is also something important. Try to have someone with you with a more sales background that will help you, to improve. So you can kind of challenge each other, and you will learn from him, and he will learn as well from you. This is the best way I have found.
Great. Thank you, Mustafa. We have a second
Welcome.
question from. So he's just or she's just asking about the difference again between pitching and preaching.
As I said, it's almost the same in both way. In both,
Mhm.
you are selling something. The pitch is mostly you are selling your product. I'm talking about my product. Okay, like I gave you the example about Apple. Okay, 1,000 musics in your pocket. This is the pitch. Okay, I'm selling you this product. You can have 1,000 musics in your pocket. The pitch is mostly about why you should join my company, because you are going to join a great project. You are going to be free, not to do whatever you want, but like to feel fulfilled in a project. to use all your potential to build something great, to have this freedom whenever you can work from wherever you want, whenever in a way, whenever you want. So you can sell something that is not really about your product, but about the vision and the thing that you want to build.
Yes, exactly. So I think there are two different segments. Maybe the first one to sell the product, to sell your product, and second one maybe to get employees or to get team or people to work with. We have another question from Sofian. So he's asking an interesting question. How can we? So investors normally get a lot of ideas every day. So what are, if you have some recommendations or some tips to like to be distinctive or to attract these investors' attention? If you have any ideas or you had some particular experience that you can share.
Okay, I will just give you an advice that I was given a few years ago when I was also looking for investors. Someone came and told me, stop looking for investors. Okay, get customers, and investors will come. Because for us as a startup founder, our main challenge is the money. Okay, but for investors, their main challenge are projects. So at some point, you are looking for investors, and they are looking for startups. To invest because they do have money, and that money they need to kind of inject it somewhere. And also think about something. You are doing day-to-day work to get customers. And investors, they are also doing their due diligence to find great startups. So don't get, except, okay, it's my advice, but maybe you cannot take it if you don't think it's appropriate. But uh, looking for investors at early stage can give you a bias, because I know that most of the people, they say, okay, let me be safe. I will have more money. I will be safe. I can pay myself. No. But this is not the real money. The real money that you can get is customers' money. So focus on that. Focus on getting traction. So your first 10, 15 customer, 50 customer, 100 customers, and you will see at some point they will pop up. They will come and they will ask you, oh, I have found your project. What is it that you are doing? Are you looking for money? Blah, blah, blah. And you will have also some leverage. Because when you are too early, you can get money, but you will lose a lot of the freedom that you are looking for, because you are going to give a big chunk of your company, and you will just become a simple employee to someone.
Yeah, clear. Maybe the last one from Ibtisam. So she's asking about some tips on how can we improve our pitching skills. Maybe you can remind the 3 points you have mentioned: empathy, listening, maybe, or
Yes, but
yeah.
honestly, I think something that I'm now currently in Vegas. I came for a convention, and I've been coming here for about a year in the US, and I realized something that I want to share here. Why in the US they are so good in selling products or doing things, comparing, for example, to Europe, without being too caricatural in a way. It's because they don't think too much. And this is something that really we have to get used to it. Just do it, start to do and improve slightly every day. So of course, at the very beginning, you will get kind of confused, you will get a very complex pitch, but over time you will, with the feedback, you will realize that, oh, it's not good. But also, I encourage you to read that book. It's a really, really good book. The story brand. It's really like something that you have to put on on the side of your bed and read 1 or 2 pages every day, and get back to it. You will learn a lot from it. I learned a lot, and I'm still doing it every 6 months, getting it and reading it again and refreshing my mind, and compare myself to what is it being said.
Great, great. Okay. Again, many thanks, Mustafa. Thanks a lot for
Thank
your
you.
time and for sharing your experience. And yeah, and also thanks for taking time to answer all the questions.
You are very,
Bye, Mustafa.
very welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Assalam.
you, Mustafa. So. Uh,